Oh, we're live? We're live, Juan.
All right.
Hey, man. Hey, Juan, thanks for being here today. You came into a training with us with a bunch of young people, like you were saying. I thought it was cool. I wanted to record something with you that we can put on YouTube or people to watch, but I thought your perspective was really cool from, you're like, a lot of people in this room are super young, and you were 57 when you found this career, which is the last career you think you'll ever have, right?
Right. I hope so.
So I'd love for you to tell kind of your story of things you did before you got into insurance sales, books, selling cookie dough, all that stuff, and the perspective it gave you on, what it actually takes to make money. Because I think a lot of people that get started as entrepreneurs, they make a little bwould of money easy, and then they think it's so easy to make money. And I always had the really useful perspective of watching my dad work really hard as a doctor. Like he would wake up at 5 a.m. every day, leave the house by 5:30. He'd get home at 6 or 7 at night, and then he would work every Saturday, right? So I always saw that, and I'm like, oh, okay, like to make good money, you have to work really hard. He probably worked 70 hours a week, and he's 63 years old and still works that hard. And I think sometimes people start as we do sales and people make money quickly. And I think they lose that perspective. So I'd love for you to share some of the things you've done before you found this.
Yeah. So after basically I was in a career for 27 years. So doing fundraising, it was kind of like, I thought that was going to be the last career I will have until COVID basically hit. And then since I was in the schools, they closed. So I basically started looking for something, and then I found this, insurance sales, and then the life insurance was kind of like something that I was always intrigued, but I thought it was a lot harder to get into it.
Yeah.
And then when I found out that all I have to do is just study, take an exam and pass, then I was like, well, that's pretty easy. And then I found basically Family First Life, how big of a compensation that they had leads, that they had all these things, and I got into it. And
when you did fundraising sales, what were you guys fundraising for? Like, how did that work? And how did you even get into that job in the first place?
Yeah, so it was Dan Hatcher. We used to sell books door to door during college. And then so my sales manager, when he found out that my visa basically expired in the schools, and then so I was like, how can he bring me back? Because I had a big team. I was one of the top producers too. And then so he's like, hey, how can he found another guy, his name Dan Hatcher. Dan Hatcher basically had sold books prior to me. He's older, and he sponsored me as an H1 visa, and that's how I started basically selling fundraising. In the beginning, it was just wrapping paper, chocolates, and then later on we found cookie dough, and cookie dough was like the big hit.
Is that the best fundraiser?
Best fundraiser ever. It was like we started making a ton of money with it.
How do you make money in fundraising? Like, how do you get paid commissions?
Yeah, so people will hire us, like PTOs, PTAs, school districts, teachers. They will hire us basically to do a fundraiser, and then so we'll give a catalog to each kid, and the kids will sell. And in the beginning, the cookie dough was just like a 6-flavor cookie dough, and then there was like they go out on sale for $10, and they'll make like $4 a sale, and it was a huge fundraiser because people were kind of like glad to see something that they could use. It was like they were tired of the chocolates and the
no one uses wrapping paper, right?
People were using it, but it was a lot more expensive than the stores, and then we were competing with Pillsbury cookies and things like that, and we were at the same price, and it was better cookie dough, so it was like no brainer. People started buying like crazy.
How much do you make if you sell like is it a tub of cookie dough or?
Tub of cookie dough. So we as a company, we were probably profiting like $1 per bucket. So
Got it.
We would
and
have
you
to
own the
sell
company.
Millions. Yeah.
Got it. So make any money, you're selling hundreds of buckets a day to try to make any money.
A lot from each school, and then so out of that we had to pay prices, we had to pay the rep to the commission, and we had to pay everything. So by the end of I had a big company. We were selling like $6 million a year, and I was only making like about $200,000 by the end of the. It was a very low margin, very, very risky, a lot of inventory.
Did you ever eat a lot of the cookie dough?
Yes. I gained quite a bit of weight.
It'd be right when you're talking about that. I want to eat some cookie dough right now. So So you own that company, the cookie dough company. How did you know to start that business? Just was it because you did wrapping paper and you're like, oh, cookie dough would be better, or?
No, it was we were already doing wrapping paper and we were doing like chocolates, and then suddenly Dan Hatcher he basically helped me go independent first, and then he found out about the cookie dough, and I found out about the social media.
Ah, okay.
I found out about the Wi-Fi. I mean, like internet? The internet. It was like we were like the first company in the internet. And I told him, I said, we need to go in the internet. And then so he got
What year was that?
massive, like 1987 or something like that.
Oh, wow. Got it. So you were really early on the internet.
Very early.
Yeah.
There was just the email and AOL.
Got it.
He was like, nobody. And then so I was one of the first companies in fundraising on the internet. And so we went nationwide. So I started doing well, and then and Dan started doing well, and then he found out about cookie dough, and he ran one group with cookie dough, and he did amazing. And then so he told me, he says, you know why? Let's tell you about this cookie dough, And then so I say, yeah, let's do it.
That's cool. And so you mentioned you had to get your visa renewed to go. Are you a citizen now, or you just have a visa still?
No, I'm a U.S. citizen for a while. So
What year? When did you become a citizen?
That was kind of like maybe 20 years ago.
Okay, because it's hard now to become a citizen. Yeah, like our nanny's working on her citizenship now. She lives with us, and she has a visa. She's been working on that for like 5 years to try to become a citizen, right?
Yeah, so that's what I got the H1, but my wife was already. She was already resident, and then she became citizen, so she asked for mine. So she was kind of like before me.
Got it.
She got it through work faster, and then so yeah.
So you were born in Colombia, and then you came to the United States for college.
For college.
What college did you go to?
Southern Miss in Harrisburg, Mississippi.
Oh, okay, got it. Very cool.
So Brian Adams was telling me about. He said, yeah, he that was his first agency he opened up. In Harrisburg, Mississippi.
In Harrisburg. That's cool. It's hot and humid there, huh? It's probably not. Was it anything like Colombia or no?
A little bit. Like there's sections in Colombia that are very humid, like in the coast, and then where I live is not. It's a little bit humid, hot, but then if you go to a capital in Bogota, it's very cold.
Yeah.
So it depends on where you're at.
So why did you choose that school when you came from Colombia?
Cheapest.
Okay, got it.
In
Southern Mississippi. Yeah,
it was kind of like
school.
the cheapest one.
I read a stat one time. I don't know if this is true or not, but I read some stat somewhere that said Mississippi has the lowest literacy rate in the country. Do you know, is that true or no?
It's probably true. It was kind of like, it was funny because I used to tell people, I say, I'm from Colombia, and then some guys will say, oh, you're from Africa.
Oh, really?
They had no idea where Colombia was.
That's because you were in Mississippi, though. Right?
I know.
Yeah.
So I was like, I guess everybody in the United States don't know where Colombia is.
Yeah.
Then when I moved to Texas, it was like, oh, yeah, Colombia, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember we were talking about this when we were on a boat trip one time, and you said that when you came to America, your dad told you to be careful because people will rip you off here, right? And you've been through some things in business where people had done that. What was that story again? I forget the details, but
yeah. So I had in the beginning, I basically sold my business to another company that was in fundraising, and it was kind of like it was Harvey basically hit our business real hard. We flooded, so I had to basically decided to sell the business. And when we decided to sell the business, a competitor of ours, which sold books also, we became kind of friends, but it was competitive friends. And I thought he was a nice guy, so we made a deal, and I didn't look at the papers, and we didn't have a lawyer look at the papers. And then when it came down to the business, it was like they didn't pay out.
Yeah. And do you think that helped you learn, like, in business, who to trust and who not to trust? Or, like, what did you learn from that? Because I think things like that happen, and it helps you, like, not make that same mistake again. What was the biggest lesson you took from that situation?
Yeah, don't trust people by the looks.
Yeah.
Just like you don't judge people by the looks. Like some people are, and that's what I remember my dad told me, say, a lot of the American people are going to have blue eyes and they're very beautiful people, but then you cannot judge just by that. That doesn't mean they're going to be great people.
So what do you look for in people now to find out if they're actually good people or people you should trust? Like, what are some things that stand out for you to help you judge people's character?
Yeah, like they actually do what they say that they're going to do. That's one of the things that when Sean Mike say, I'm going to give you 25,000 on the stage, I never thought that he would give me 25,000.
Yeah.
I said, I'm never going to get that money. And then I got it like less than a month later. And I was like, this guy, I can trust.
Yeah. So you just watch, you don't listen to what people say, you just watch and see if they follow through with their actions, and that's how you judge people's character.
Right.
Yeah. That's cool. When I really started liking you was when we went on this trip and we did when we went to Colorado, and you were like, my chest hurts. This is a short version of it, but you're like, my chest hurts. We're at altitude. I'm like, Dan said, no, you're having a heart attack probably. So you had to go to the hospital, and then they put a stent in your heart, right? They had to rush you down to Denver. You're in the bed and you're on your laptop checking your policies and making sure you're still getting all your business pushed through. And your wife says on the phone, she goes, are we still going to Greece? This is Greece, right? Are we still going to Greece next month, right?
Yeah.
And I liked how you were still working, and you didn't get upset. You were like, okay, I'll be all right. But like, what was going through your head when that was all happening? Because you stayed really calm.
Yeah, I knew it was kind of like, just something that I can get through. And then so I basically was actually looking, because that was a trip that we won by production. And my next questions to you was like, what is the next trip going to be? I was thinking about the next trip. I'm like, so I knew it was going to be like just something temporarily. And then it was kind of like, I'm going to be fine. I was just glad that I took action and went to the hospital, because it was like, it could have been worse,
We had to suspend our trips because Sean thought that I was trying to kill our top producers by taking them. He always tells people I took you on a hike in the mountains. I'm like, that did not happen. You were just sitting there early in the morning with chest pain and went to the hospital. So.
Yeah, it was just, I think because of Denver, I probably still alive. Because I would have been playing tennis the next day if it would have not been in Denver. And they say that if you have the same thing, if I would have been playing tennis, I probably would have had a massive heart attack.
So technically, I saved your life.
Exactly.
That's the story I'm going to tell Sean. Technically, I saved Juan's life. I did not almost kill Juan. I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page with that. So everything happened with your cookie dough business. Did you get out of the business after that bad dealing happened, or what happened after that? So you tried to sell your business and you got screwed over. Then what happened?
So I signed up to sell for them.
Okay.
So part of the deal, I kept keep the salespeople and help them kind of transition into it. So I was helping them and everything. And then whenever they didn't come through their part, I basically decided to stay in business and went independent, but I did not want to carry any inventory. So I found people that will pay me a high commission just for selling. And I started doing pretty well, but COVID happened like 2 years later.
And then everything shut down. What were you were you looking for insurance, or Francis reached out to you and said he was doing insurance during that time, right? Like, how did you were you looking for a new job, or what were you doing before you started with us then?
So I was doing fundraising, and then when I basically found life insurance was through a client that worked with another company, and that was kind of like where I got the license. I did a little bit of but there was a different type of setup, so I was not too much interested in their setup, and but I really liked the idea of the life insurance, and I wanted to do it, but I want to say, where can I find leads? So I started looking for leads online, and everything I couldn't find the right leads. And then I heard that there were companies that will provide good leads or sources of leads, and somebody told me, contact Francis, and then I contacted him, and it's Family First Life. It was like, wow.
And you knew Francis from before, or?
From book sales. So we sold books like when we were in our 20s.
Wow.
So it was like when we
was he good at selling books?
We had hair.
Who was the best at selling books? Were you the best?
Francis was pretty good. I think we were pretty much even.
Was Dan good at selling books too, or no?
Yeah, I think he was pretty good, but he would sold before me. And then Mo and Jari was very good.
He did books too.
Yeah, he was.
So
very good.
all of your main guys all sold books.
Yeah.
Which is why you're like, we should hire the book salespeople
Exactly. They're
that
already
are 20.
prepared.
Yeah.
Yes.
'Cause that's a very hard job, right?
Yes.
How does the commission work on book sales? You said you get $100 per book when you make a sale?
No, at the time it was like the books were like about you make 40% of everything that you sold. So if you sold like $100 book, it was like $40.
Got
so
it.
at the average was like $50 per book, and then so we were making about $20 a book, and so I remember a $60 day was pretty good.
Wow,
You know?
that's crazy. What kind of books were they?
Educational and
got it.
and Bibles.
Got it.
Educational and Bibles. So it was like reference books about math. And
Like encyclopedias?
it was not encyclopedia, but it was a reference book, like thick books that were, and those were created by a company called Southwestern. Basically,
Yeah.
they were like the first one that came out with that.
Do they still sell books now or no?
They still,
Got it.
but then now it like, I think they do it all, like, e-books, I guess. or
Digital
whatever.
books.
Digital
Yeah.
books. Yeah.
So you found Francis, and then you got started with us, and then you sold for a couple of years, just traditional like final expense and term insurance, and then you transitioned to selling IUL business, and you were like one of the first people to really go all in with that. Can you talk about that transition and why you decided to be like an IUL expert?
Yeah. So in the final expense and mortgage protection was great. You know, I was meeting great people and but then when I started doing little by little the IUL first through the IULE through Mutual of Omaha, it was kind of like I learned a little bit about how the IUL works, and then when I found out the real IUL, it was kind of like surprising that I never heard about it. That I basically had like 3 or 4 policies for myself, but did not anything about the IUL. So I started searching for it. I started promoting it. I started basically jumping into it, and all of a sudden, basically, people were very interested on social media about IULs. They were like, that was one of the things that we started promoting the most in social media. People wanted to know more about that. Mm-hmm. Just like me, I wanted to know everything about it. Like, it's a complete package. Like you get the final expense, you get the mortgage protection, you get basically the savings account, you get basically living benefits, you get it all in one. Mm-hmm. It's a complete package.
I think the cool thing, as I've seen you guys start to build that, and then some of our new agents start to sell it, is the clients want to pay more, because life insurance is like, if I die, the money goes to my wife or my daughter, right? Mm-hmm. If you die, same thing, goes to your wife or your daughter. But if with IUL, if I'm still alive, I can take the money out. There's a lot of different ways you can use that product, right? Like,
correct.
Say one way you can use it, if someone has a lot of retirement accounts already, they can get an IUL and just take the money out on years where the market's down, so they don't, compound their losses. Or if they get sick, they can use the money. Or if they want some tax-free money to pull out, or if they want to take money out that they don't want to pay penalties on. There's so many different avenues you can use it for.
Right.
Which makes it a lot more versatile. You can use it for kids. You can use it for older people for protection focus, right? So I think the cool part from what I've seen is there's a lot of different angles. Mm-hmm. Whereas like with mortgage protection, like the only angle is this is to help you pay off your house when you die.
Correct.
Or like for final expense, it's like the only angle you can take is this is for your burial when you die, right? So it's more of a selfish sale too, because as the consumer, you can use it. You're going to use it. Mm-hmm. And then when you die, your family still gets whatever's left over, right?
Exactly. And then so it's a great product for young people, for people that are basically kids or people that are in their 40s or 50s. They still like it because they say, I don't have any life insurance, or I have very little. Mm-hmm. I say, well, you can have the policy at the same time, but then you're going to grow your money at the same time. And then when you take it tax-free. So it's kind of like another, and then so that book, The Power of Zero, I really like that book because it tells you like the few areas where you can retire.
It's Patrick Kelly, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very good.
It's a very good book.
And it's cool because I think where people maybe get confused or try to oversell IULs, they say you should only do this for retirement. And it's like, no, this is just one of the pieces for your retirement, right?
Right.
Like you should still have some money in the stock market, and you should, if your 401k lets you have a match, you should take your free money.
Exactly.
But you should also have something like this that when I was at a meeting and I heard National Life Group CEO, Mayron say, insurance is the only industry where you can provide guarantees to your clients, which I think is very cool, right? Because you can guarantee a floor, you can guarantee living benefits, you can guarantee a death benefit for a certain amount of years, you can guarantee, guarantee some cash value depending on which type of policy. So you can provide a lot of guarantees to your clients that you cannot provide in equities or in the stock market, right? Or in your 401k or anything else like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know you guys are recruiting a lot of agents that are interested in selling this type of insurance, that have done other sales or have sold other types of insurance before. Why do you think that selling IULs is more appealing for agents?
Yeah, it's an easy product to basically show to anyone, and they can see the benefits of what it is that they're getting. They can see how the money's growing. They can see everything. And so I tell people, it's like, in other sales, you can spend, like I have seen people that spend 3 or 4 hours in a type of sale where they make the same amount that they make in a policy or less. And then so it's kind of like we don't take but 45 minutes to an hour.
Right.
In one transaction, and you can do it on the comfort of your home. Most people are having to visit people, or they're having to travel all over the world on sales, and so they could be making $250,000 in a year, but they are not spending time with their family. Here, we get to spend time with our family, but at the same time, we can have the potential to make a lot.
Yeah, I tell everyone, I'm like, look, Juan sells a lot. You sold 1.1 million last year, the year before 1.3, I think, right? But you also take vacations. You went on how many vacations last year? 5, 6?
Yep, pretty much like
5 or 6 and you should do that, right? Because you're 60 years old and you want to enjoy your life with your wife. And I always joke with you, like, because the doctor said, hey, are you taking your cholesterol medicine and blood pressure? You're like, no, I don't take that stuff. It's like, okay, well, now we take it so you don't have heart attacks, so you can keep going on vacations, right?
Right.
But you get to enjoy your life because you found something that you can sell virtually, and you're able to sell a lot and then control your own schedule, which is probably what you were looking for the last 27 years, right?
Exactly. I was looking, and I could do it if I wanted to move to South America. I could do it there.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's that easy. Like
will you move there? Do you think?
I told my wife, I said, I don't want to move permanently, but I want to have a house there, and I kind of travel there and then stay there for like 2 months and then come back, and our daughter is here, so for sure, and we got a lot of things here, so it's kind of like, I don't think United States will be like, it will be always our country, but then South America is very appealing.
Yeah,
you can live very well there with less money.
If you get a house there, I'm definitely coming to visit you.
I know,
because I didn't get invited to Colombia last time. Which South American country is your favorite? Is it Colombia because that's where you're from, or what's your favorite place to be?
Right now, South America, like in Colombia, is of course because it's my home country. But when I went to Argentina, I love the Argentinian. It looks like European country in South America. So it was kind of like very cool because people were speaking Spanish, but then they were all, it's kind of like an European. I was talking to people in English sometimes, thinking that they were from Europe.
Yeah,
they look European sometimes. I'm like, oh my god!
But they all speak Spanish.
Yeah. So it was cool. It was a great country, also.
What's the biggest piece of advice you would give to young entrepreneurs who are starting out in sales or starting out working with us? Because you've seen a lot, and that's why I always like talking to you. You have a really good perspective, and you're a very positive, happy person. So I always enjoy being around you because it gives me good perspective on where I'd like to be in my life. You have a good relationship with your wife, with your daughter, and I love being in business with you. And you're just a very good person. So like, I really value your opinion. Like, what is something you would say to a 22-year-old person starting out in insurance?
I would say you have an amazing opportunity here. Like the opportunity that I wish I would have had when I was in my 40s, not even in my 20s. I mean, if I would have I would dream to be, because my 20s I was not mature like most of you guys. I was still not thinking about my future. So, but in my 30s and my 40s, I was thinking about my future. I wish I would have found it then, and I would have had like such much more better life right now.
You would own Colombia right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And Wade, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate everything you do for our team. And I always love getting to talk to you. You always make my day. So I appreciate